Hi there, this is Sean, the Honest Book Reviewer, with another book review. In this video, we're discussing The Hollow Boy, written by Jonathan Stroud. It's book 3 in the Lockwood Co Series. It's a young adult fantasy series, paranormal books. I think this book opened up the series a lot more, added so much more to the world that the author has created. Here's the cover. The covers I've got are all in the same series of books, same series of covers. I got all these books from the library, but I do love the covers of each of these books. And this brings the characters to life a lot more. And these books, they can be enjoyed by readers of all ages. I think readers of all ages can get a lot from each of these books. In this novel in the series, London is being overrun by spirits and other sorts of ghosts. They're everywhere, it seems, and they're centering in one certain part of London as well. There are so many agencies being called to help out to try to rid this area of London from these ghosts and spirits. So in this world, about 50 years ago, there was an event. And from that event, it just means all these ghosts and spirits, all different types of ghosts and spirits, are entering our realm. And there's hundreds of them, thousands. And what that means is there are certain agencies that have been set up. And those agencies have one aim, and that's to rid ghosts and spirits. So cleanse houses, cleanse buildings, wherever they may be. Lockwood Co is a very small agency. So at the start of this book, it's only 3 people. It's the owner, Anthony Lockwood, and George, and Lucy. And they're all great characters. But in this book, something interesting happens. A 4th person comes along, and her name is Holly. And Holly's introduced to Lockwood Co after Lucy comes back from a week's vacation, and Lucy's not happy about it. So from straight away, there's jealousy and rivalry between Holly and Lucy, even though they're there for different purposes. It seems Holly's there as more of like a receptionist, secretary, even kind of house cleaner in a way, because Lockwood Co is based in a house, and the house used to be owned by Anthony Lockwood's parents, but they're deceased before the series of books happened. That's a brief history of the world we're in and what's happened in the start of this book as well. So as other agencies are being called in to help out in this big mass event, and Lockwood Co are being left out, Anthony Lockwood is not happy about it. He wants in, but he can't get a way in. By chance, they talk to somebody who was working for a different agency, and they're given some information on all the events taking place. And George, who's in Lockwood Co, he's a bit of a researcher. He loves research, loves digging into old archives and libraries, dusty corners, and he gets that detail, that info, and he's, right into it. He wants to find out what's going on. He thinks he can pinpoint the source of this mass event that's happening in a small part of London. He thinks if he can pinpoint it, Lockwood Co can get there, solve it, and get the fame from that. And they end up doing that, but I'm not going to give anything else away apart from that. Apart from the fact they end up finding out where the source is. But what happens then? This book is super exciting. The pace is so well done. There's a mixture of things going on in this book. We've got action, we've got drama, we've got great characterization, great interactions between the characters. We've got comedy in there as well. This series is very good with comedy, with humour. The humour is used so well by the author in this whole series so far. And that's with all the characters. And there's one character in particular who's very humorous, and that's a skull. It's not a talking skull. It's a skull in a glass and silver cage. So in this world, ghosts are tied to objects. And there's a ghost that's tied to this skull in this glass and silver cage. And the reason it's in the cage is it's a very powerful ghost. It's a type 3 ghost. They're very rare. But Lockwood Co have got this glass and silver cage with this skull inside, with this ghost trapped inside. And they're not meant to have it, so they keep it very secret. But Lucy, one of our main characters, can communicate with the spirit in this cage. So this skull, and that's how the spirit appears most of the time, as a skull in the cage, talks to Lucy a lot. But he talks to Lucy in a very interesting way. He's very snide, very snarky. He uses a lot of humour, a lot of cynicism, and his comments are often laugh-out-loud moments in this series, and he becomes a very central character to the whole series so far. He's a big focus for information to help out Lockwood Co at certain times, and he seems to almost become friends with Lucy as this series develops. And I enjoy Skull as a character, and I think without him, this series wouldn't be as good as it is. The other thing that's really enjoyable about this book is Lucy, who's our main narrator in this series. Her character is developing so much in this book. There's a big change for her at the end of this book as well, but her character seems to have the most character growth in the series so far. And I enjoy her observations as narrator very much. She's got a great wit, great sarcasm sometimes in what she sees and what she thinks as a narrator. But she's a great character in her own right in the book, and the author has just harnessed her very much in this book very well. I think he's developed Lucy as almost a perfect character. She is so balanced as well, but she's also very emotive at times. She's a whole mixture of things in the book, in the series, and I enjoy Lucy as a character. I think if the author didn't create Lucy as well as he did, this book and this whole series would suffer. So I'll try to mention characters that I haven't mentioned before in the first two videos on this series. The first is Holly, and Holly is the new person who's joined Lockwood Co. She did come from another agency, and we find out why as the story develops, but I like Holly as a character. She's very different to the rest. She's very prim, very proper, and the rest are quite slobs really in the house, and she's there almost to shake them up a little bit, and she does in some ways, but then she has some clashes with Lucy, and they're interesting interactions in this book. But I like Holly. She's very strong, she's very stubborn as well, and she has to be, I think, to deal with all the people in Lockwood Co as it is. But she has great insights in this series as well, in this book, and she helps out the other characters in the book a bit. It doesn't seem like she is it sometimes, but her little ways of doing things, and sometimes when she does things, it can be seen as her doing things to annoy people, but she's not doing that to annoy people. So it's interesting to see how Lucy sees Holly in this book, because that's mostly through Lucy's eyes. But I think Holly is a worthwhile character in the series, and I'm hoping she stays for the rest of the series. Flo is a character I've wanted to mention since the start of this series. She's very vivid, very colourful, very vibrant. She adds so much to these books. Even though she only appears in scenes very fleetingly, she's not there for big chunks of the book, but she adds so much substance to the story. And she's very different in her character. So she is a person who hunts for relics in the wild, basically, and when she finds them, she sells them on the black market. So she's not doing things above board, really, but she's friends with Lockwood Co, or we think she is anyway, but she helps them out for a price, and that price is usually licorice. So that's just something that's very whimsical, and she's got a lot of quirks as well, Flo. That's what makes her, I guess, so attractive to readers, because she's somebody who readers can engage with, because she has such contrast to everybody else in the book. Montague Barnes is the head of a government agency that kind of monitors and oversees all the actions that the agencies make when they're hunting ghosts. He's a very interesting character because you're never sure about him. You're never sure how much he knows, because you get the hint all the time that he knows more than he's letting on. And you see different things through Lucy's eyes about the way he acts, the way he speaks. And Lucy suspects different things about him, but you're never sure because nothing's ever concrete with Montague. And that makes him an interesting character. He's another character that fleets in and out of scenes. Not one of our main characters, but he's a great support character. And I love the way he interacts with the people from Lockwood Co, because he's very fair with them, and he gives them a little bit of leeway, but he also offers little hints and little warnings at times to them. And I like that because it means that he's a bit mysterious. What does Montague know that he's warning Lockwood about? And I find that just makes this character feel so much more rounded. He feels like a genuine person when you read Montague Barnes in the books. The Hollow Boy is a great read, a great third book in this series, and I'm loving this series so far. I can't wait to read the rest in the series, and I can't wait to see this on Netflix because it's coming on Netflix soon. So I do love this series, and I think the author has created something magical with this series. The world he's created is just great. I love the way he's created these books. It's our modern world, but with dark elements in there. And sometimes the books get very dark. They get a little bit bloody and gory sometimes, not too much, but they're also got humour, so there's so much contrasts in this book. All the action's always spot on, the pacing's always spot on, the characters are always spot on. Well, maybe not so much in the first book. The characters weren't always perfect in the first book, but since then they've been developed quite well. But everything in this book just shines quite brightly. I rate it a 4 out of 5. I'm enjoying this series so much and I can't wait to read more. On my channel, I review quite a few fantasy books. If you don't want to miss out on those videos, check out my channel and subscribe. There's also a fantasy playlist on my channel. It should be on your screen now.